In a dark laboratory in Vienna, a man sat completely still. A specialized source sent single particles of light toward his eye, one photon at a time, the smallest amount of light that can exist. Again and again, in total darkness, the researchers asked, "Did you see it?" Sometimes, more often than chance, he said, "Yes." Some scientists call that the edge of human vision. Others say the result is still too close to call. But underneath that debate sits something solid. The cells in your retina can respond to a single photon. That part is not in question. It is measured. Your eye is not a camera. It is something stranger. At its limit, it works at the smallest unit of light there is. So here is the question this opens. If your body reaches that deep into the physical world, what else is it quietly taking in? The internet has a popular answer. It says your body is an antenna for cosmic consciousness. It is an appealing idea, but it leaps far past the evidence. The real picture, coming out of the lab, is stranger than the hype. Your body is built to detect the world at the quantum level, and three ancient traditions describe the body as a kind of instrument, one that takes the world in. They were not doing physics, but they were pointing at something real. Start with the part that is fully established. Deep in your eye are cells called rods. They work in near darkness. And a single rod can respond when one photon strikes it. One photon. The smallest piece of light there is. This has been shown in careful lab work for decades. Think about what that means. A photon is the smallest unit of light that exists. You cannot detect anything less. And your eye already works right there at that floor. The same limit the most sensitive lab instruments reach. Your body did not approximate this. It evolved to it. And vision is not the only place biology meets the quantum world. There is a young field called quantum biology. It looks for places where life uses quantum effects. The clearest example is how some birds navigate. Many birds find their way using the Earth's magnetic field. The leading hypothesis is striking. Light enters a special molecule in the bird's eye. It triggers a reaction. The reaction creates two linked particles. Their quantum states stay connected for a moment. That brief quantum link is sensitive to magnetic direction. A living compass, built from light and spin. It is still a hypothesis, not a settled fact, but it is the best explanation we have. You may have heard photosynthesis described the same way. For years, plants were the poster child for quantum biology. But that case has weakened. Most researchers now trace the effect to ordinary molecular vibrations, not lasting quantum coherence. That correction matters. It is how science is supposed to work. So here is the honest summary. Life does not just sit on top of the quantum world. In places, it reaches down and works there. Your eye is the clearest proof you own. Now, two honest limits, before we go on. First, the proven part is narrower than the hype suggests. A rod responding to one photon is solid. Whether you consciously perceive that photon is still debated. Second, and this matters most, quantum biology is not quantum consciousness. That birds use a quantum effect to navigate does not mean your brain receives a cosmic mind. Those are completely different claims. One is measured, the other is speculation. So as we move to the edge, hold that line. Real detection is not the same as receiving consciousness. Take a moment with where we are. Right now, light is striking your eyes. some of it down to single photons. Sound is pressing on your eardrums. Your skin is reading heat and pressure. You are not sealed off from the world. You are soaked in its signals every second. And here is the strange part. Almost none of it becomes experience. Your brain throws most of it away before you notice. That filtering may be the real mystery. Not what you take in, what you leave out. Now the contested edge, where the hype lives. Start with the heart. The heart produces a strong electrical signal. On the body's surface, that signal is about 60 times the amplitude of the brain's. The heart also produces a magnetic field. It is real, but it is extraordinarily faint. To detect it outside the body, you need our most sensitive instruments and a heavily shielded room. In ordinary conditions, the Earth's own magnetism swamps it. That is the true part. Now, here is the leap. One group, the HeartMath Institute, goes further. They suggest this field carries emotional information between people, that your inner state broadcasts to others. Their own data is much weaker than the claim. The effect mostly shows up during physical touch, and even then, only sometimes. So, the field is real. The idea that it broadcasts your emotions is not established. Now go deeper, to the boldest idea of all. Two scientists, Roger Penrose and Stuart Hameroff, propose something radical. That consciousness arises from quantum processes inside tiny structures within your neurons. If true, the brain would be a quantum device at its core. But there is a serious problem, the same one that haunts every quantum mind theory. The brain is warm, wet, and noisy. Quantum states are fragile. In conditions like that, they usually collapse almost instantly. Critics call the brain the worst place for quantum effects to last. The researchers disagree, and the work goes on. A few recent results are suggestive, but none of them confirm the link to consciousness. It is a live question, not an answer. And that is the honest shape of the frontier. Real scientists, real experiments, no verdict yet. Whether or not these ideas survive, they show how far researchers will go to find the roots of mind. Step back from the lab now. Long before instruments, people described the body in a striking way, not as a sealed object, as something open to the world. And the language they used sounds oddly familiar. In the Vedic tradition of India, they spoke of prana, a subtle energy drawn in with the breath. They mapped channels in the body, called nadis, where this energy was felt to flow. In the Taoist tradition of China, they described qi, a vital force moving through pathways called meridians. Now be careful here. They were not measuring fields or photons. They knew nothing of quantum spin. This was not physics. It was something else, a patient, first-person map of what the body feels like inside. Thousands of years of people sitting quietly, watching their own experience with great care. And what they reported, again and again, was a body that takes the world in, that is touched by it and moved by it. They were not describing the mechanism, they were describing the experience. So place the two side by side. Modern science says the body is a receiver. It measures the mechanism, photons, fields, quantum spin. The tradition said the body is a receiver too. They mapped the experience. Prana, qi, the felt sense of flow. These are not the same claim. Science is not spirituality. One looks from the outside with instruments. The other looks from the inside with attention. But they meet on one quiet point. The body is not a sealed box. It is tuned to take the world in. Measured one way, felt the other. The same fact, seen from two directions. Try this now, with your eyes open. Do not change anything. Just notice. Light is arriving at your eyes this moment. You did not switch it on. It simply comes. Sound is here too, from every direction, near and far, without you reaching for it. Warmth, pressure, the weight of your own body, all of it arriving on its own. You are not building this world. You are meeting it moment by moment. Now notice the deepest part. All that incoming signal somehow becomes experience. Light becomes seeing. Air becomes sound. How that happens, no one can say. That you take the world in is certain. How it turns into you is the open question. Return to that dark room in Vienna. A man at the very edge of what a person can sense, light so faint it came one photon at a time. Whether he truly saw each one is still debated, but the deeper fact stands. The cells in your eye respond to single photons. That is not mysticism, it is measured. Your body reaches down to the smallest unit of light. The internet says you are an antenna for the cosmos. That goes well past the evidence. But the truth needs no exaggeration. You are, in a real and measured way, a receiver. Your eye works at the quantum floor. Life itself reaches into the quantum world. And long ago, without a single instrument, people sat still and felt the body the same way. They mapped the experience we are now measuring. Science explains how the body takes the world in. The traditions described what it feels like, and how that becomes you, no one yet knows. Ancient wisdom, quantum mystery, direct knowing. This is quantum Gnosis. If this line of inquiry pulls at you, the next investigation goes into the physics of our shared reality. It is in the description.